Sex was happening inside a church. The altar was tarnished by a sexual act involving 3 individuals. And now the priest who was involved has been fired, but we might actually be on his side. Okay, so let me give you the details of this story. It took place in Louisiana, and it even involved obscenity charges, which as a Californian blows my mind. Because in our state, you will literally come across people fornicating on the streets. But nonetheless, let me continue. Travis Clark, 39-year-old, was arrested in 2020 after a passerby claims he saw the light on in a Pearl River church and walked up to witness Clark and 2 women filming themselves having sex on the altar. Court documents show the police seized sex toys, stage lights, and 2 recording devices, a tripod-mounted camera, and a cell phone. Now, the Times-Picayune reports that Clark will serve 3 years of supervised probation and pay a $1,000 fine. The felony institutional vandalism charge against him was dropped. Now, I want to be clear before I continue with more details into the story. We're talking about 3 consenting adults. Now, having sex in the church, I can understand why people would find that offensive, but offensive is different from criminal. And the fact that he got criminal charges for doing this blows my mind. Now, this is the fascinating part of the story. Archbishop Gregory Amen called Clark's behavior deplorable and said his desecration of the altar in the church was demonic, and I'm infuriated by his actions. Amen had the altar removed and set it on fire.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. He's like, oh my God, this thing is so dirty. Let's burn it. Okay, I'm sure he had a similar reaction though to other much worse crimes, Anna.
Yeah, that same month, another priest in the same archdiocese was credibly accused of molestation. And while he was eventually removed from public ministry, Amen notably did not call him demonic.
Didn't burn anything he touched. So if you're having consensual sex with 2 women, that is demonic and the worst thing in the world, burn the whole goddamn place down. Oh, you're molesting little kids. Well, that's Tuesday in the Catholic Church. So I'm glad they at least moved him out. In the old days, they would have kept him and moved him around.
Now, the 2 women he was being intimate with appear to be sex workers, and they are also dominatrices, which great. Mindy Dixon released her, by the way, and this is the sick part. Now these sex workers are being harassed and threatened online, and so they're having to respond to it, which is so ridiculous. But Mindy Dixon released her official effing statement on Twitter with a devil gif and told harassers it was absurd trying to shame her with scripture and tell her she's going to burn. In a GoFundMe to help pay her legal fees, Melissa Chang, who was the other woman, pointed out that all parties involved were consenting adults. The 3 adults initially faced 2 felony charges, obscenity and institutional vandalism, but the women entered a plea agreement with the state in July of this year to a misdemeanor count of institutional vandalism. They agreed to testify for the prosecution in Clark's trial. Judge Ellen Creel gave them each a suspended sentence and 2 years of supervised probation. Okay, so like, look, to be clear, even though I'm not religious, I understand why folks would be like very offended by this act happening within that church, right? I get it. So don't do it, it's not a good idea. But with that said, I don't really think there's any actual criminality here.
No, let him go, let him go. So look, should he be fired? Of course, that's ridiculous to do in any place of work, let alone a church, right? But what are these charges? Obscenity and institutional vandalism. What the hell does institutional vandalism mean? That means, well, we didn't like what you did to an institution. Like, remember, there's no actual vandalism.
Can I just say, there's institutional vandalism happening in this country all day, all night. Like gutting our institutions, weakening them. I mean, institutional vandalism is like, it's as American as apple pie.
And obscenity, I literally don't know what the hell that means. Like I thought we got rid of the obscenity laws.
Yeah.
So I get like you're doing something non-consensual, they should throw the book at you. But you're doing something obscene with 3 consenting adults. what the hell are you guys talking about? Why is that I mean, and I guarantee you that everyone who's in favor of this, them being charged with crimes would say, oh yeah, man, we're for freedom. But if you have the wrong kind of sex, we want you locked up, okay? That grossed us out. What kind of? I'm still thinking about it. But I want you put in jail, okay? So no, this isn't freedom. This is the exact opposite of freedom. Okay, now, second point here. Just when you, look, I was gonna say, look, man, that priest, it is what it is. I don't think he should go to jail. And I was gonna be more favorable to him. I mean, he's got courage, let's put it that way, okay? But get a load of what he does at the end, because they're all bad guys, okay? So I'm gonna read you from the local paper here. I'm gonna read from Jezebel, actually. Clark's lawyer told Creel on Monday that the ex-priest shouldn't have to serve active probation, okay? He's, quote, in this situation, it's an incredibly specific set of facts and conditions that seem very unlikely to ever happen again, said Michael Kennedy. He then said the 2 sex workers who both live out of state are more likely to repeat the offense. So the priest's lawyer says he should get probation because he's not gonna do it again. What are the chances? By the way, the chance of him doing it again is like 98%. Anyway, but he's like, the sex workers, it's their fault. They're the immoral ones. They're probably gonna do it again. You should punish them. Oh no, that's it. You're a terrible person. Terrible person. So still he shouldn't go to jail for just being a terrible person, but he is, and he definitely should have been fired.